So another question I saw that more or less, I'm paraphrasing this question, all right? The problem I have is that with digital products, it's all about you. Like you are the brand, right? You're the brand. You are front and center, and this is something I'm not comfortable with. You know, I don't want to get in front of a camera. So what do? What's the alternative for me, right? I need something else. So okay, this is something that obviously that's something I do, and something Hannah does, right? Most likely, if you're listening to us, you know what we look like, and this is not the first time you've heard our voices, because we appear on video quite often. Now, this is something I do advocate. So it's something I recommend. And this comment is actually exactly the reason I recommend it, because most people feel that way, right? I like doing things where I have an advantage because they're difficult. This is a great example of that. If you've ever tried to make a video, you know that it's difficult, right? The first video you make is a horror show. The recording session of your first video is just, I think a common experience there is that you run out of space on your card, or your battery runs out before you're done recording your 5-minute video, right? Because you do so many retakes, and it's just, and you're nervous and sweaty and you're flushed, and it's terrible. For me, I love this, because when I started out, the thing that gave me the drive to start making my own products and start doing my own thing is where I was like, I looked at other people's content and other people's products, and I was like, okay, I can outwork you. That's the only thing I know for sure, is I can outwork you. I'm willing to work harder. I'm willing to do more difficult things. I'm willing to put more time and effort into developing myself and developing my skills than you are. And specifically, you know, looking at other product creators in just, you know, basically courses and things that I took, I often thought, you know what, with a bit of effort, I could do better than that. It's just a matter of doing it. So I like that. To me, that's an opportunity. It's like, well, of course I'm terrible at making videos at first, but I can see that everybody has these difficulties. Most people give up. So it's an opportunity for me to stand out. So from that point, I advocate doing that. I advocate doing difficult things because it gives you an advantage. But I don't think you have to be your personal brand or something. It has to be front and center with a digital product. What are your thoughts on this, Hannah? What do you think?
Yeah, I don't think it's mandatory. I do think that it is a huge advantage because people like people, and people trust people, and people like doing business with people. So the moment that they have the impression that they know who is behind the business, it just gives like this much more human touch or somehow. But I don't think it has to be the main creator. I mean, the thing is, like, if you think about Apple, like, it was Steve Jobs. He wasn't the one creating the products anymore in the end.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But he was still the face of the business. So I think, or you can maybe think about MailChimp. Like, when you think about MailChimp, you think about the monkey, right?
Yeah.
So they actually use the mascot as like the personal branding of the business. And I think that could maybe also be a road to go. Why not? But I do think you need something to like stand out of the crowd, because if you're just some faceless e-course in a sea of faceless e-courses, and if you're not proud enough to put your name on that e-course and to put yourself like, yeah, to be proud of what you're creating basically, then I do think it will be hard to create a real brand around that.
Yeah. I also have to say that everything that you see me do with video can be done in other forms of media as well. So two names that come to mind are Andre Chaperon and Ramit Sethi. And who's the copywriting course guy? Neville Medora, right. Those are three that just off the top of my head, even if you ignore all of their videos and just read the text they write. Just read their emails and read their blog posts, read their writing, and you will see that you don't have to get in front of a camera to to get this same effect. You don't have to get in front of a camera to make this personal connection and to have a unique voice and to get this advantage that Hannah talked about, right? Because yeah, like she says, people like people and people buy from people, but not people only buy from people that they've seen on video, right? You can use text to communicate this personal thing as well.
There's a huge difference between, like, okay, you don't want to be on video. I can totally understand that. But there's a huge difference between you don't want to be associated with the business. Then I really think you have to ask yourself if you really want to do that business. Even if you look at real brands, you often know the creator of the brand that's behind it because they are proud of it and because at one point, like, they will talk about their business and do interviews and that kind of stuff. So I do think that it's actually something that I tried at one point. Like I was having a website and I wouldn't put my real name on it for I don't know which reason anymore, and like it just never really takes off because then what, you have to like create other social profiles and then if somebody wants to, like I said, interview you on a podcast, it's not possible because it's not your real name and it's not, you don't want, like, yeah, I do think it's pretty hard.
I agree. I mean, it's, if you don't want to be associated with your business, if you want to be anonymous and you don't want anyone to know that this is your business, then you should probably examine why that is. Now, I think there are some legit reasons, right? I think there are some legit reasons where it's like, I don't know, you sell hemorrhoid cream or something, right? And okay, but there, yeah, in most cases, I agree that it's much better if you have a kind of a personal thing. But John says, for example, I've done that, 20 years of pen names. So, but okay, John, can you actually clarify? So did you do it successfully with pen names? Or because he also writes, I'm finally doing it for me now. Right, this is not a business before. Okay, so I think you can be successful under a pen name and things like that. I think you can avoid the spotlight, but it's also, in terms of our message at ActiveGrowth, this is not our message, right? Our thing isn't, oh, how you can, build a business overnight without involvement with some white label thing, and then
yeah, I was just going to compare with the white label stuff, right? It's the difference between saying like, oh, I saw this Chinese product that I think I can sell a bunch of for 3 or 6 months because now it's popular, or I'm actually creating a business. And what we advocate is actually creating a long-term business.